Welcome back, y'all, and happy Easter Sunday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today's going to be a very short video. I told you yesterday that I wouldn't be coming back to the channel unless we had some transfer portal updates. We definitely have some. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, y'all, let's start with Tennessee's offensive tackle room. As y'all can see, Larry Johnson is highlighted in purple. That's because he's going to the transfer portal. So we got him in the 2023 class, came in at 6'7", 380, cut that down to 350. His body composition has changed dramatically. He looks a lot better. So he's a hard worker. He's been putting in that work, trying to get his footwork better and things like that. Looking at what he did last season, he only played at left tackle, and it was, he only got to play in spurts, but he had a really good game versus Oklahoma where he's mauling people, moving 2 and 3 people by himself. So it actually kind of looked like a 4 or 5-star offensive lineman's high school highlight tape, like just that game by itself. So he definitely can get things done. His pass blocking, I think, was pretty solid. Realistically speaking, his pass blocking might have been better than some of the backups that got to play more than him last season. But just because there were 6, 5th, 6th, 7th year seniors, they got to play more than he did. So he's not a bad player by any means. This season, I said, I kind of went back and forth. I said, I feel like he might be able to get that starting job on the right side at tackle. But then David Sanders, he was flashing a lot. Really, I would say that in the orange and white game, David Sanders looked better from top to bottom than Larry Johnson did. And part of the reason that Larry Johnson's leaving is because he couldn't get promised that starting right tackle job. So I don't blame him. I definitely don't. And we kind of felt like this would happen. We hinted towards it's a possibility. We said that the insiders have kind of thrown that name out there, and we were just on lookout. So it has finally happened. What this means for Tennessee's offensive tackle room is that we're losing another veteran, and really the only other veteran that's left would be Lance Hurd. Lance Hurd is going to be our starting left tackle. Who's going to be backing him up? It could be Bennett Warren, who's been going back and forth from left to right in the orange and white game. He was only playing on that left side. He was the highest rated offensive lineman in the 2024 class on most of these sites. So he just has to continue to grow. I think that he's definitely taken some big steps forward from last season to this season. So we'll see how that plays out. But we also have Trevor Duncan, who's been playing mostly on that right side. So it could be a competition between David Sanders and Trevor Duncan for that starting right tackle spot. I think that Trevor Duncan looks really good too. I'm very impressed with him coming out of high school. He was just a guy that played on that D line. Now, as he's been learning offensive line, looked great. So Jesse Perry, he's another one that could play anywhere up front. And this will be interesting. Does the staff want to try to say, hey, we want Jesse Perry and David Sanders to get, all of these right tackle reps so that, Jesse Perry can kind of push David Sanders? Because I could see that too. I could see Jesse Perry potentially being able to win that starting job on that right side. But there's another player that we haven't seen, over the course of spring, and that's Jeremiah Hurd. So redshirt freshman, 6'8", 330 pounds. I think that he is the maybe best looking player on this team, just from a physical standpoint. I mean, he is tall, he's long, he's lean, hasn't done anything. I have no idea what his injury is. Hopefully he's going to be back for that fall camp. But man, I'm going to tell you, once he does get his opportunities, I'm expecting some very, very big things. It does suck that he's missed so many physical reps. Hopefully he's been taking those mental reps, but he's a guy that, I feel pretty solid with. So this is a deep offensive tackle room. Also, Brian Grant. Brian Grant would be the other veteran inside of this room, but he just hasn't, he hasn't played too much. So that's the only reason I kind of skipped over him. But he's another one. He's looked pretty solid. So this room is perfectly fine. I don't think that Tennessee needs to go out to the transfer portal and add anybody. I don't think we need to add anybody to the whole offensive line. We're just so deep with capable bodies, right? Some of these guys, they're not proven just yet, but you look at their skill set and, you say, hey, once they get out there, they might kind of go through some growing pains, but it's only going to take them a few reps and they will adjust. They'll be able to play. So that's going to be my biggest thing is, can we get through those first couple of games? Can these young guys grow up? If that happens, I think the Tennessee's offensive line is still going to be better than it was last season, and really since Coach Heupel has been up on campus. All right, now let's take a look at Keelan Marion. That's the wide receiver from BYU, the P&I just talked about yesterday. Listed at 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. We told you that we love this film. We think that he could definitely help this team out. The coaching staff feels the exact same way. We put the offer out there, and he said that he's planning on visiting Tennessee next weekend. So that's great news because we're all worried about, can we even get these, older, kind of like veteran one-and-done types of wide receivers to entertain us with our quarterback situation, and knowing that we can at least get this guy up on a visit. That's a great sign. Something else that I'll kind of throw at least, I'd say one more wide receiver and maybe 2 more wide receivers. But either way, I also like his size because it gives him some extra versatility. He can play inside or outside. That's going to give us more depth, exactly what we need. So actually, even just looking at Tennessee's wide receiver room, you can see that most of these guys are going to be between like 6 feet tall to 6'2", 6'3". Typically, I'd say 6 feet tall to about 6'2", that's going to be your inside outside guys. But I kind of feel like really even Travis Smith, he could probably play some slot for you in certain situations. That's not, that's really not his skill set, but he could do it. And I would say the same thing about Brazel, but I'm curious to see, does the staff want to try to cross train all of these players to be able to do anything inside of our, offensive scheme, just as far as being a wide receiver. And hopefully that is what Tennessee's goal is. So I thought that was some really good news for us, man. Like we still have to close out on a quarterback some type of a way. We'll see how that looks at some point next week. Hopefully it's going to be early in next week. But we're not going to know until someone actually hits that portal. So that's it, man. Those are my thoughts. I think that we're doing a pretty solid job just being able to bring up one good wide receiver. That makes me feel good. We've got several linemen and things like that we've hosted or that we're expected to host coming up here. So we are, kind of addressing some needs, but we got to close out. So please share your thoughts with me down in the comment section. And as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.